for the Macola Lot Traceability using WiSys Agility for barcode scanning, automation, and reporting. We'd like to introduce Vicki Basile with Macola Software. We really appreciate Vicki joining us today, so thank you, Vicki. And Vicki's going to start us off with a few words from Macola.
Thank you, Kathy. I too want to take this opportunity to welcome you all to the Macola Lot Traceability WiSys Agility WMS webinar. We know your time is very valuable and we appreciate you spending some of it with us for this informative webinar. As Kathy mentioned, my name is Vicki Basile and I am the Alliance Manager for Macola Software. My primary responsibility is to build and nurture relationships with our technology alliance partners, such as WiSys, with whom Macola has had a very long and successful partnership. Macola Software has been in the ERP industry for over 40 years, and during that time, over 8,000 customers have relied on Macola Software to run their businesses. Our flagship product, Macola 10, is an all-inclusive and scalable product that customers can grow into with no additional module cost. That is a strong value add for our customers, with Macola 10 providing more functionality for less cost. I would like to thank you again for attending this webinar, and with that, I would like to turn it over to my esteemed colleague, Bob Hawk of WiSys.
Thanks, Vicki. Hey, good afternoon, everyone. I think I know many of you on the call today, and if I don't, I'd be happy to talk to you one-on-one. I've been with WiSys for a number of years, and I have led many different campaigns and demonstrations of the product. I'm excited about today's presentation to show how WiSys and Macola work really well together in terms of blending technology. So WiSys today has over 350 companies that use our products on a day-to-day basis, doing millions of transactions, really millions. The business systems are tied together to do very robust, high-speed applications. The WiSys applications work with all the different Macola ERP versions, Progression, ES, and Macola 10, and I will show you some things today that may be of interest to you with these integrations. WiSys is the recommended warehouse product for Macola. There are many different WMS products out there. What is unique about WiSys applications is that we're just bonded to the Macola data model. When you do a transaction in Macola, I can see it in WiSys. When you do a transaction in WiSys, it's immediately available in Macola. So it's very tightly integrated. Some of the companies that use our products are brand name logo applications. Today's webinar is focused on Lot Trace. And if you look at some of the names here, food companies, Christopher Ranch, Mazzetta, Bob's Red Mill, many of the companies here are doing these lower level transactions in Macola with bin control and lot control. And each of those layers of control takes more work. And that's the work that WiSys makes easy with Macola. I would call your attention at the top of the screen to Ancient Harvest. They're also known as Quinoa Corporation. And if you look in the little sidebar inside of your GoToMeeting application there on the right, you'll see that there is an attachment for the quinoa brochure that we did just recently, where Mike Skilley talks about some of the things that they do and how they have compliance with FDA all the way down through the product. They've been doing this for years as an organic product, but now it's much easier to do with Macola using the WiSys applications. So how does this really work? I mentioned that the two systems are bonded together. The WiSys applications, the data is right inside your Macola database. So there's really only one place of truth, and that is the Macola SQL Server data. On top of Macola, we add our framework. I'm going to show you a picture of that in just a minute. The framework is what we build our handheld applications with. There's also desktop applications that are built with a framework for that too. But primarily today, I'm going to be focusing on the handheld and doing some transactions on the desktop. But the framework is really important because when you use the framework, you can build applications that are just for you to give you a competitive advantage and let you run more efficiently. We've built many out-of-the-box applications, but it's very easy to tweak these so that you can do more with one transaction. What is Form Studio? Form Studio is what we build these applications with. When you open up Form Studio, you have a number of different components here. I'm working on a bin transfer in this screen. These are all the different adjustments and tweaks you can make to this screen. You can move fields up and down, you could add more data, and you can actually add complex rules and business transactions using the built-in object layer into the system. When you work with a consultant, with a business partner, with WiSys, we can actually layer these transactions together to make them work much more efficiently for your unique processes. We call them purpose-built. The advantage of a purpose-built application is it's tailored right on site. You don't have to send it back to the factory to have it worked on. It can be done right on site. Every one of our customers that uses the warehouse management shipping system has these tools on their server. So it makes it really easy for a tech support person to tweak something, your business partner to tweak something, or WiSys consultant to tweak it. I'd like Kathy to run a couple of quick polls before we get started with a demo. Go ahead, Kathy.
All right. So first off, we just kind of want to get an idea of if you're currently using and tracking lot number information today. So if you guys can take a quick minute here and just give us a yes, no, or considering. All right, here, I'm going to go on ahead and close this poll, and I'm going to share it up here. So it looks like we have 63% doing lot tracking, and the others are no or considering. So let's go on ahead and let's run one more. And how are you tracking your lot information today? So are you just tracking it in Macola, another system, a third-party system? Do you guys do it paper-based? You're not tracking but need to, or another? And it looks like we have about everybody in here, so I'm going to go on ahead and close this poll. And we have 55% just right in Macola, 27% are paper-based, and 9% other or need to be tracking. So let's go on ahead and close that. And we've got one more here for you. Why do you need to keep track of your lot information here? So is it FDA required? Is there an external organization, customer compliance, internal QC? Go on ahead and let us know what's required there for you guys. And everyone's doing a great job of, all right, I'm going to go on ahead and close this poll. And here we have a little bit of both. FDA and customer compliance seem to be our two biggest ones here, and then internal QC. So thank you, everyone here, and we're going to go back to Bob.
All right, great feedback. Thank you. All right, a couple of comments on traceability. You know, food and beverage is just one place that people can get into lot and trace requirements. And the requirements for food and beverage are probably different than they are for pharma or chemical or medical devices. So you really need to pay attention to your specific rules and regulations.
Bob,
yes.
Your screen's not showing. Can you show your screen? Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Flying blind here. Need help. All right. FDA regulations, food and beverage. I mentioned, you know, these regulations are different by industry. The food and beverage for lot and trace are what I was talking with Mike Scioli about. And there are different subparts and these different titles that are out there. So when you begin to look at lot trace requirements, you can do it on paper, and you have to, you know, capture all the data, you have to file it, you have to search for it, you have to retrieve it, you have to create manual reports. It's possible to do it, you just have to do a lot of work. The easier way is to do it electronically and use the power of Macola to do it. I remember Bruce Hollinger telling me one time, he said he went out with a consultant one time, and a consultant says, never turn on lot control. And he said, why? He says, well, it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because people are lazy and they are short on time to capture all the detail. So to really turn on those layers in Macola, it's really important to have a system that can capture that data. So that's what an electronic system can do for you, and I'm going to show you that today. We all know that if you don't do things right, things can get shut down, and the FDA will shut you down. There are, if we read in the newspapers, if we watch television and pay attention to the internet, we'll see when there are peanut problems, there are salmonella problems, there are problems with hamburger, things like that. And nobody wants to see that, but it happens, and you can get your business shut down. What's probably more important is the electronic process is just really good at saving you money. When you look at the capturing of that data and you use technology to capture it, it becomes a very fast and quick product. Not the least of all those things are real-time data. But, you know, and your reputation is really important. You know, it's important to you. People remember how good you are, and then once you're bad forever. So, you know, why ruin your reputation? It's also smart business. You know, when you begin to consider doing more business with customers, they're probably going to want to know you have a process in place to be able to deal with that. And that makes you a smart business, and that's why people are going to want to do business with you. Also, let's go to the validation. So there is something called validation, and if you Google that, it basically says that for purposes of the guidance about validation, it's the process is defined as the collection and evaluation of data. That's what we're doing. We're capturing a lot of data inside Macola. And from those process, from the design stage all the way through production, and even capturing, you know, maybe QC information with your lab results, all of that becomes a process. So WiSys isn't FDA approved, and Macola isn't FDA approved, but your process is what gets you approved. And by using these tools, you're going to have a consistent way of delivering a quality product, and you're going to have traceability all the way through. So with that said, I'm going to hop over and we're going to do some transactions. So I'm going to go fairly quick today, but I'm going to try and connect the dots inside of this presentation so that we can actually see the Macola system in place. All right. I'm first going to introduce you to a couple of the WiSys applications. If you're already a customer, you know and probably like using these apps. This is our Agility mobile app. When I log in, all of these icons come to me as the logged in user. I'm now going to open the Agility Explorer. The Agility Explorer is this application here, Agility Explorer. These are components. You'll notice here on the left, I have folders. These folders can really be anything you want them to be. We've kind of modularized them a little bit so we can organize the components that we have. I have a favorite section here, and in the favorite section, I'm going to be using these different components to do transactions, and we can actually watch what's going on. I always like to think about when you begin to do something, you start with the end in mind. So today, my goal is to manufacture Awesomesauce. And Awesomesauce is this bottle, not that one. So I'm going to manufacture cases of Awesomesauce. All right. So I've got my ingredients here, and I'm going to begin the blending process. So let's first take a look at what's happening inside Macola. I'm going to use a component here called our OE desktop console. The desktop console lets me look at all of my open orders in Macola, and I can see the different statuses of those orders and all the components on those orders. And I can organize these. So I'm going to specifically look for customer 901, I want to specifically look for my LTL orders. And I want to only look at booked orders. So this is my list of orders for customer 901. So as I move down through these, you'll see there are different line items on the lower grid. So the upper grid is a spreadsheet organized view of all that Macola SQL data. When I get down here to order 208, 208 is my Awesomesauce. So the advantage to using this is I have the power of a grid, and I have the ability to plug in Macola components. And if I need to edit an order, I can just use Macola right here. So I've stepped from Macola from WiSys over to Macola and popped up the Macola order entry. So we know that lots of customers use this application. There's no need for us to rewrite it and redo it. It works great. When you do this application, you're going to use a Macola license. So it's all above board and it works really well together. If I want to change this order, I can just come in and edit it. I'm going to order 36 cases of product and save it, and I'm done. When I close the window, the grid refreshes. So I'm on Awesomesauce. You can see here now I have 36 cases. This makes it really convenient for customer service people. As I move across these orders, you'll notice there are buttons across the bottom. These buttons will light up when I have different transactions available. These particular buttons down here for pop and shop order would work if there were orders out there that were demand pull and linked together to that sales order. In this case, I'm to be using my own pop order to build this application. Now, I've got demand in the system. So what I want to do is come over and look at my pop order advice report. And sitting here, I can look at all the items. This particular grid is showing me all the orders that are pop manufactured, and it's like giving me a last-minute snapshot. You may use MRP or other tools like that, but this is giving me that last-minute snapshot of what needs to happen. So here, I could create my order right here. I'm going to take a look at it first. And it's going to show me that if I want to build this product, and I want 48 cases of this product, or maybe 60 as it's recommending, it's going to show me what I need. So here, this is giving me that last-minute view that says, hey, if you're going to build this product, you might have a problem because you've got a shortage. All right, so now I know I need salt. So I'm going to go ahead and create my order here. And I'm going to create and release that pop order right now. So it's in the system. I'm also going to go over to the inventory reorder advice. And I'm going to run that. And I'm going to look for salt. These are all the things that purchasing should be paying attention to. So I could do purchase orders for everything, or I could selectively do them one by one. That's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to create a purchase order, and I'm going to release it and print it all in one go. This is one of the power features of using WiSys, is the ability to tie multiple process steps together and create what we call a composite transaction. So typically, what would you do? You'd create a PO, you'd release a PO, then you'd print a PO. I'm doing all of that with one step. So here's my PO, PO 123. Here's the quantity, here's the item. I'm going to go ahead and print that off. And that's on order now. So let's go back to the handheld. And now that that order is out there for purchase order 123, we've expedited it. My purchasing guy is on top of his game. The salt is just coming in the door, and I'm going to scan the PO I'm going to scan the item if it's available. Anytime you have that blue line, you can scan, type, or do a lookup. Now in this case, I know that the product is coming in without a barcode for the lot. So my lot number, I'm just going to type it in, and I'm going to put the quantity on there. So when I hit save, it's going to go ahead and do that. Before I do that, I'd just like to point out that I have all my network printers available to me. And I have inside of the WiSys application, I have labels memorized either generically or specifically by item. So I'm going to go ahead and do a save, and I'll get a label to print out. So I now have my label. So we like to refer to capturing information and labeling as doing it at the first touch point in the organization. The best chance you have to control your inventory is right when it's in your hand. Every time you move it, every time you do something to it, you have a chance to get it right, or you have a chance to get it wrong. And so by using barcoding and labeling and things like that, we can help increase the chances of getting it right. That product right now is sitting at the dock. So the put away transaction is really just a transfer. And if you scan the wrong thing, you're going to get the wrong result there. So the system is telling me that the purchase order number doesn't belong in that field. So I scan salt. It wants the lot number. Well, I'm going to actually scan the product that I'm moving. So I'm going to scan that barcode that I just put on there. And now I'm going to transfer it to where it goes. So I put it on my forklift or my cart. I'm going to physically now take it to where I'm going to put it away. I'm going to put it in S100, and I'm going to confirm the quantity. And now that product is in inventory. Okay, now that my product is in inventory, I can come back and I can begin my production. And I need to close a couple of these windows. And I'm going to look at my pop order master. And my pop order master, I believe, is 102. So that is the pop order that was just generated. I'm going to open it up. And we're going to begin the process of getting that material. So I'm just going to come back to this in just a second. It's really handy to have a material move document. So I have this is a list. Imagine if you're the production manager and you want to look at all the orders that either need to be run or are currently running or released. So notice here, I have orders that are released. I can just look at all those. I want to print a document for this order. This is going to help me get the materials that I need and kit up that order. And I can use that to scan. So that's similar to a sales order pick ticket, but I want you to think of a material pick ticket that I need to move to the production line. So what I'm going to begin to do now is I'm going to go back to that pop order master. I'm going to reopen this, and I'm going to talk for just a second about a change that's available inside of production order processing. Traditionally, Macola Pop only backflushes, but with WiSys, we can actually issue. And issuing material is really important if you are a batch-oriented manufacturer or a blender, someone that is mixing things, and the bill of material is a recommendation, and the bill of material may need some adjustment to it. And in the world of POP, you would have to, release your POP order, capture the detail, and maybe unrelease your POP order, change the quantities. We don't have to do that with POP anymore. With WiSys, we're going to be able to look at the material we use as we consume it. We can overissue, we can underissue. So let's go ahead and get started with that. And I'm going to connect all those lot movements as we go. So I'm going to go to the POP section, and I'm going to go to the POP issue. So I'm going to use my move document. I'm going to scan that, and I'm going to scan the first item, and that'll be the one that I go to first is onion, and I need the lot number. And I'm actually scanning the package. That number is right on the package. And I'm going to get it out of that specific bin that I'm going to. And I'm going to confirm the quantity that it says that I need. This process could be directed based on your rules. I'm not using rules today, I'm just keeping it simple. Tabasco sauce, lot number, bin, quantity. And now I'm going to get the vinegar, lot number, bin, and the quantity is 60. And finally, I'm going to get garlic, lot number, and bin. This is all very easy in a demo. Now, I do have one more item. That's salt. And I am so organized, I can't find my label that I printed out. So I have it under something probably. There it is. So I'm going to go move toward that item, salt, lot number, in the bin, and the quantity. This time I'm actually going to issue a little bit more. It asks me, do you want to overissue? So I am. I always spill the salt. All right, now that I've issued that material, if I just come back here, there's always a refresh button on the WiSys screens. And now I can see those components and their issues. So this gives you a chance to review what was planned. It gives you a chance to review what was really issued. And you can even drill down and look at the different components and their lots. This is the connection. This is what's happening in real time as I issue that product. Now we can actually get better costing and better variance control. All right, I've issued my materials. Now what I want to do is do some production. So now I'm going to introduce you to another type of application that we've added to the WiSys series. It is pallet management. And pallet management, one of my options is to produce to a pallet. So think of pallets, or think of them as containers. It could be cartons, totes, gaylords, rail cars, whatever you want to produce to. We could have a container to keep track of. Most people understand what pallets and cartons are, so that's where we started. But the idea is to have a pallet, know what's in the pallet, and know where the pallet is. And producing to the pallet is really handy for inventory control. So let's go ahead and do that. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to hit enter and get a pallet number. Now that pallet number is hidden from me right now, but I'll get it in just a second. I do need to tell it what order I'm working on. And you'll see that it's going to automatically generate a lot number out of the WiSys Lot Builder application. If you look close at that number, you'll see that the first 8 digits represent the order number, and then the last 7 represent the Julian date. So 8 and 7 is 15, and that fits perfectly into the Macola serial lot field. I'm going to go ahead and produce the first pallet. When I do that, I'll get a label. So now I apply that pallet label as I produce it. I'm going to clear the screen. I'm going to do the same thing again. Order number could default. I just don't have it defaulting. Keep your eye on the quantity remaining. As I work down through that order, the application is helping me keep track of where I am. Of the 60, I still have 2 pallets to go. All right, I'm done. Okay, back to my process. And I need to now deal with this order. I'm going to open up another application here called Order Pick Management. I'm going to focus in on my sales order. When that order was entered for 36, I was out of stock. I'm going to fill one back order. I could fill all my back orders just in one go if I want to. I'm going to also print my pick ticket. So from this one application, I have a nice looking pick ticket with everything barcoded, and it's even telling me where this product is located. All right. Moving right along here, production is pretty easy, and now we're going to do some shipping. I'm going to do load pallets. Loading pallets, I create a shipment number. I then scan my pick ticket. I've got that here somewhere. And what I'm going to do here is I'm going to actually walk up to one of the pallets that I'm going to ship. I'm going to confirm the item on that pallet and then scan the pallet number. Okay, so I've got a shipment number and I'm adding material to that shipment. Think of this as a sales order number, and I'm adding multiple line items to it. Every item on this order needs to be going to the same address. I'm going to go ahead and pull up the shipping console. Get a little more real estate here. I'll go ahead and look up the order that's in process. There it is right there. So for those of you that ship full pallets to people, this is pretty handy. If you want to build mixed pallets, we can do that too. That's a little bit different process. I'm just going fast here today. Again, my sales order number, my item, and the pallet. Same thing, sales order, item. Notice it says quantity remaining is 12. This is my last pallet. So I'm good. If I come back over here, refresh the screen. Here's my 1, 2, 3 pallets. If I look specifically at a pallet, I can see what's packed on that pallet. There's my lot number. So now I'm building a shipment to go to this customer. When I'm all done, I just press the truckload LTL button, type in my final details, and it's got the calculated weight for me. I click print. There's an option to print a packing list. If you want a packing list, we've got that. And I'm also going to get an automatic bill of lading that ties all that stuff together. Okay. A couple more steps. I want to do my billing now, and I'm going to go ahead and get my billing and invoicing done. Again, I'm billing one order. This could be a list of 20 orders that you've shipped today. You can put in some more details if you know them. I can even go, as an option, I can invoice everything. So there's my printed invoice. So my order is at a status 9 now. If I come back here and release this filter and look at my order, you'll see it's status 9, invoice printed. And all that's left to do to make a little money here is to get that invoice out and post it, do a little revenue recognition. I'll go ahead and post my order. Now, the reason I took it all the way through that process is to really begin with the end in mind. So now I'm going to end up looking at this new grid that's available in 567. That's our current build of software. And if we look at this filter over here, notice that we can filter by item number, by serial lot, by the manufacturer serial lot, location, or a specific range of transactions. So you can only imagine, or I could only imagine, those of you that have been using lot control for a long time, just how much data you must have out there. So this is a really nice area that you can build in filter criteria based on what you want to see in your filter. Since I've got demo data, it makes it easy to look at just a little bit of data. All right, so now we're dealing with validation and we're dealing with traceability issues. So in my little world here today, imagine you get that phone call from a customer and they tell you that they have a problem with a product. So maybe you've got a problem with Awesomesauce. So here is Awesomesauce based on the range of data that I have, and I can see the different transactions that have gone on with Awesomesauce. So here is a OE. This is the sales order right here, so I could pop this up. I could take a look at the history on that. I could look at the order. So here's the order number, here's the invoice number. I have the ability to reprint the invoice if I need to send this to a customer and tell them that we've got a recall problem. So I have all that data down here. From here, I can actually look back through, here's the pallet transfers that have happened, and here's my production. So maybe what I need to do here is you'll notice as I click on these different options, notice that these buttons across the top get hot for me. So if I look at this production, notice that the pop dialog is there. And I can actually drill down and I can see the different components that went into that product. So here's the onion, the Tabasco, vinegar. Under the onion, I could look under here and I could see what lot numbers were used there. If that came in on a purchase order, I could actually drill back to the purchase order to find out who I bought it from, when, and what lot number it came from, things like that. Okay. So for a conversational point of view, I'm going to just say that my quality team has figured out that we had a problem with the onion, and we know the lot number of that onion. There it is right there. And the other thing that is important is I can actually see right here other serial lot information that is still in inventory. Notice that I've got inventory here on this particular item. I can drill down and see that that's made up of these two pallets, actually. Well, I'm going to quarantine that stuff. So just by typing right here, I can place that product on hold. All I did was really just imagine just going into Macola, into the lot master, finding those lots, and checking the box for hold. That's really what I've done here. So now I can stop any more shipments from happening of that product while I do a little bit more investigation. I'm going to come back and look at that onion. So here is onion transactions. and I can see the original receipt of that onion. Notice that I brought it in just doing a manual transaction through inventory receipt. It could have been a purchase order, and I could have got more detail there. I also see that I've got another problem. If I look at my sales orders, I've got a problem in that I've got the Awesomesauce, which has that questionable onion in it, and I also sold some onion to this customer. So now I want to find out some information about that customer, and I can see who it was, the shipping information, all that information about who the onion went to. Why a bike shop would ever buy onions, I'll never know. So from here, if I had a whole list of invoices, I could get a list of those right here, and I could print that out. You'll notice that all of the WiSys Agility grids have the ability to go to Excel. So this makes it really easy to take the evidence that you have and print it out in any way you need it to give it to an inspector. So you can print that out, save it, whatever you need to do with it. Okay. So what we've tried to do is give you one simple user interface where you can actually drill down and move through the data pretty quickly to find and put on hold the things you want to hold. I'll put that onion on hold too. I just have a problem with that. All right, Kathy, I'd like to run that last poll now. I think I've completed enough of the demo that people ought to have a good idea of what's going on.
All right, guys, we have a last poll, and basically after seeing everything that you've seen out of the serial lot transaction, what are some of the additional features that you think you would need out of here? So, crystal report, ability to print hold quarantine labels, transfer item lots to QC or locations or bins, or to place packages, be it pallets, cartons, whatever, on hold. Or if there is anything else in other, we will be sending a survey out at the end of this. And if you could open up that survey and go on ahead and tell us what else you might need in that serial lot trace to be able to provide you with the ability to do recalls, to track down items that are there and get what you need to provide for whatever is your driving force. And it looks like we have pretty much everybody there, so I'm going to go on ahead and close this poll, and I'll pop it up here. So we have people that would do a crystal report, quarantine labels, a little bit of all of the above. And we do look forward to your responses in the others, so if you could certainly do that, that would be great. I will hide that poll there, Bob, and it should go back to you. You may have to share your screen again.
All right. I'm at the point where I'd like to open it up for Q&A, Kathy. Let's see if we can